Life can deal you a rotten hand sometimes. One minute, Dad's booming laugh fills the house. The next, there's a deafening silence after that car crash. Next thing I know, the bills are piling up faster than laundry on a Saturday morning. College? Forget it, honey. I had to get a job. Fast. That's how I ended up scrubbing toilets for the Vanderbilts, the richest folks in Maple Creek. Their mansion makes our little house look like a dollhouse. Shiny marble floors, crystal chandeliers that dangle like giant raindrops, and more rooms than I knew existed. Now, the Vanderbilts themselves? Let's just say they come with their own set of sparkle. There's William, the eldest, tall, dark, and handsome enough to be on a movie poster. Then there's Charles, the middle one, with eyes that change color like the sea depending on the light. And lastly, there's Michael, the youngest, a walking advertisement for a hair gel company with a smile that could melt butter. All three with college degrees and enough charm to sweet-talk the birds out of the trees. Let me tell you, it takes some serious willpower to dust a bookshelf while a Greek god of a man walks by in his bathrobe, hair all tousled. But hey, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. I may not have a fancy diploma, but I do have pride. Dating a Vanderbilt? Not on your life. A recipe for disaster written all over it. Besides, Mrs. Vanderbilt, bless her heart, could probably buy and sell me 10 times over. I wouldn't want to be some trophy wife, all dolled up and bored out of my skull. Me? I dream of opening a little bakery someday. The smell of fresh bread filling the air, and happy customers with crumbs on their faces. Now, don't get me wrong. A part of me can't help but admire them. William's a whiz with stocks, already tripled the family fortune. Charles is this hotshot lawyer who donates his time to pro bono cases. And Michael, he runs this nonprofit that helps kids in foster care. Makes you wonder how people so darn privileged can turn out so decent, right? But that's just it. They're Vanderbilts. I'm Jennifer, the help. Two different worlds. So, I keep my head down and do my job, and sometimes, just sometimes, I let myself dream about winning the lottery and opening that bakery. A girl can dream, can't she? I was on my hands and knees, meticulously polishing the mahogany floor, head down, humming along to the radio in the kitchen. Suddenly, the melody shifted, and the unmistakable opening notes of Whitney Houston's "Saving All My Love for You" filled the air. My heart skipped a beat. It was Mom's song. We'd sing it together all the time. Memories washed over me, warmth battling the sting of loss. Lost in the music, I belted out the lyrics, my voice echoing unexpectedly loud in the cavernous room. A throat cleared behind me. I froze, mortified. Heat flooded my cheeks as I straightened up to face a bewildered Charles, still perched on the piano bench. William and Michael stood behind him, equally surprised. My voice, usually reserved for singing along to the radio in the shower, had somehow escaped and landed right in the laps of the Vanderbilt brothers. "Wow," breathed William, raking his gaze over me in a way that sent shivers down my spine. "You have a beautiful voice, Jennifer." The following days were a whirlwind. Gone were the days of unnoticed cleaning. Charles started leaving sheet music near my cleaning supplies, pieces he thought I'd like. William, ever the businessman, offered to help me invest some of my savings, which admittedly wasn't much, teasingly calling it seed money for my bakery dream. Michael, the most forward, started inviting me to help him with his volunteer work, his gentle encouragement a balm to my soul. One rainy evening, Charles found me lost in thought, perched on the window seat in the grand foyer. He sat beside me, the scent of his cologne mixing with the earthy smell of rain. He began to play a slow, melancholic piece on the piano. As the final notes faded, he turned to me, his ocean-colored eyes holding a depth I hadn't noticed before. Before I knew it, we were lost in each other's gaze. He leaned in, his touch hesitant at first, then deepening with growing passion. His kiss was soft and questioning, mapping my lips with a tenderness that sent my heart into a frantic dance. We tumbled onto the plush rug, his body warm against mine. Time seemed to melt away as we explored each other, with an urgency born of a sudden, undeniable connection. The second encounter was different. Michael, usually radiating sunshine and smiles, seemed subdued that afternoon. As I dusted his room, the playful banter was missing. He approached me suddenly, pulling me into a tight embrace. "Jennifer," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't get you out of my head." This kiss was electric, fueled by a raw hunger. We ended up on his bed, tangled in sheets, the storm outside mirroring the one raging within us. His touch was bolder, possessive, leaving no doubt about his desire. When he finally pulled away, breathless and satisfied, a part of me ached knowing I wasn't the only one on his mind. Days turned into weeks, and my heart was a tangled mess. The charm offensive from the Vanderbilt brothers intensified. Each encounter left me breathless, confused, and drowning in guilt. I had built a wall between myself and them, determined to maintain the boundaries of my reality. But here I was, lost in a whirlwind of stolen kisses and whispered promises, setting fire to the carefully constructed walls of their world and mine. This wasn't just about stolen moments anymore. I was falling for them, all three of them. One blustery evening, after an encounter with William that left me weak and trembling, a sense of dread settled over me. This wasn't a fairy tale. There was no happily ever after with three princes. I was a house cleaner, not a princess. I was playing with fire, and it was only a matter of time before they got burned. Or worse, I did. The Vanderbilt family reunion loomed, a gathering of distant relatives and enough wealth to choke a horse. Little did I know, my presence would be the main course. A shadow fell across the gleaming surface of a teapot. I looked up to see Michael, a nervous smile plastered on his face. "Jennifer," he began, his voice barely a whisper. Before he could continue, the double doors swung open, revealing the rest of the Vanderbilt clan. William and Charles froze in their tracks, their expressions a mix of disbelief and dawning anger. "Jennifer," Michael announced, his voice gaining strength. "I love you. You make me a better person. Will you marry me?" The room erupted in gasps. Mrs. Vanderbilt's pearls seemed to choke her, while William's jaw clenched tight enough to crack a walnut. Panic clawed its way up my throat. This was worse than any horror movie I'd ever seen. All eyes turned to me, a spotlight of expectation and judgment. Each brother mirrored a different emotion: William's fury, Charles's hurt, and Michael's desperate hope. My mind raced, a chaotic jumble of guilt and fear. I couldn't breathe, let alone speak.